640 and 92.7 FM. Clutch with Keon Rose. Our phone number is 423-800-8949. That's 800-8949 for your comments, questions, reactions, and thoughts. I'm talking about Tom Brady right now. I'm talking about Tom Brady because Tom Brady said something that, look, that would make the Brady haters happy, right? Like the Tom Brady haters. And to be clear, Tom Brady has accomplished a lot, and some of the accomplishments have some controversial elements to it. Some of the accomplishments are simply otherworldly, hard to wrap your mind around. And when someone does something at that level, they produce haters, right? Like if you, I don't like referring to a group of people as haters typically, because what you end up doing is like anybody that just kind of seems to vaguely impede your path, you're like, oh no, that person's my hater. Most of us don't have haters. Like, can we just be 100% honest about that? Most of us don't have haters because most of us don't do anything significant enough to draw nearly the attention of hatred that it would require to have a group of people called haters, right? Like, and I'm not bashing you, like me too. Like I'm not important enough to have haters. I have people who disagree with me. You can follow me on Twitter at SportsCloud. I get into Twitter arguments all the time. The people that argue with me on Twitter are really cool, really smart people that just have a difference of opinion. They're not my haters, okay? They're not actually stopping me from accomplishing life goals. But there are people who do have this sort of weight and gravitas. And those people attract people whose only seemingly job in their existence is to hate them, right? So LeBron is a guy that you talk about a lot because like LeBron has haters. Like just people just hate LeBron. And when you ask them why, well, I don't know. Well, yeah, helpful, nice, right? Like the greatest athletes in the world. Serena Williams has haters. But Tom Brady has haters, right? Like just people that just, you ask people why they hate Tom Brady. But he's arrogant. First off, they're all arrogant. Secondly, Tom Brady takes less money so that his team, they can afford to put a team around him. Like, what's arrogant about that? Like, he understands, oh, I'm declining in age. Let me take less money so that I can have good players around me. There's nothing arrogant about that. That's just intelligence, right? But Tom Brady has said something that's going to make the Brady haters happy. Tom Brady got asked if he was the greatest player of all time, right? Over at the Four Letter Network, Ian O'Connor asked him if he'd eclipsed his own childhood idol of Joe Montana as the greatest player of all time. And this is what Brady said. He said, I don't agree with that. And I'll tell you why. I know myself as a player. I'm really a product of what I've been around, who I was coached by, what I played against, and in the era I played. I really believe that there are a lot of people who, if they were in my shoes, they could accomplish the same kinds of things. So I've been very fortunate. I don't ever want to be the weak link, right? So first off, for all of you people that just don't like Tom Brady because he's arrogant, here's a guy being asked if he's the greatest player of all time. He's got more rings than any starting quarterback and been to more Super Bowls than any starting quarterback. And he says, no, it's not me. So you can go ahead and toss that out the window. But it does enter this conversation of how do you explain, how do you describe the greatest of all time? How do you define that? Because it's NBA playoff time. And so as such, we always end up in these conversations with LeBron James. And it gets to be enormous. And LeBron's got a similar thing with Michael Jordan that Tom Brady's got going on with Joe Montana, where one guy played in a past era. I think we all understand, can admit, and can acknowledge the previous era was tougher and harder to play in. And that guy succeeded at it, right? Michael Jordan, 6 for 6 in NBA Finals. Joe Montana, 4 for 4 in Super Bowls. At a time when it was more difficult for them to play that sport, right? The rule changes have opened up things a lot so that a guy like LeBron, you drive to the basket, like the fouls that they call now, they would never have called back in the 90s. And like the same goes with Brady. Like the way that we pass the ball, the way that we move the ball up and down the field, like Joe Montana wishes that in the West Coast offense in the 80s, he would have been able to throw the ball like that, right? Like if you had given him that opportunity, like Joe Montana would have lit the NFL on fire. But when you get into these conversations of who is the greatest of all time, what are you looking at? Are you looking at resume, which is important, right? Like people accuse me of saying that all the time, like resume is not important. Resume is important, but resume is only one way of looking at who is the greatest. Because if you look at Michael Jordan and you look at all his MVPs and you look at his NBA titles, Michael Jordan has a fantastic resume. He does. And his resume, as of this moment, you could argue, is better than LeBron's resume. And the 100% in Super Bowls, the 4 for 4 in that era where defenses could literally just beat your receivers to death, in that era, going to 4 Super Bowls and being like the driving force behind all 4 of those Super Bowls and winning all 4, I mean, that's incredible, right? But if you just go on resume, Montana's resume looks really nice. Jordan's resume looks really nice. But if you go off of something else, like if you look at that person and go, okay, is this guy the best guy that I've ever seen in my life? Well, then you have to do something else, right? Like with LeBron, if you just look at the eye test, you watch LeBron James play, you realize that the man is 280 pounds. He is a runaway freight train. He's 6'8". He dominates. He could jump out of the building. Like you'd have to acknowledge, oh yeah, there isn't anybody alive better at playing basketball when you take into account the physical gifts than that guy. That guy right there. That guy is doing it the best. And so if Tom Brady says he's not the greatest of all time, I agree with him. I agree with Tom Brady, especially when you look at football. Football is a much more system-oriented sport. Does Tom Brady have the greatest resume of all time? Yes, he does. Okay. 5 Super Bowls. He's been to 6. He may end up going to a 7th and winning a 6th. Like he's going to be the most successful quarterback ever. And if we're talking about the most successful, it's Brady all day, right? Like that's not even a conversation. Tom Brady won this last Super Bowl in February and the conversation ended. Who's the most successful quarterback in the history of the NFL? It's Tom Brady. We're not having that conversation. But if we're talking about the greatest of all time, you watch the guy, and there isn't a better person at doing that than anybody else you've ever seen. Like 2 names come to my mind, and I know it feels controversial to say the first one. Like both of them are controversial, and I'm not trying to be controversial, but like this is my legitimate opinion. Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback I've ever seen in my life. And don't old man me, right? I'm 27 years old, and people will come down and go, "Oh, but you weren't alive. You didn't really see." No. All of that stuff is available on the internet. It all exists, and not like clips on YouTube. You can find whole games from the 80s, and whole games from the 90s, and whole games from the 70s, and whole games from the 60s. And I am a nerd, so I watch them. I watch them. So don't old man me about how I wasn't alive. Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback I've ever seen in my life. Nobody does the stuff that he does. I've never seen it before. Okay? With my own 2 eyes, nobody plays the quarterback position better than Aaron Rodgers. Granted, at this point in Aaron Rodgers' career, Aaron Rodgers is never going to have the resume that Brady has. Okay? He's not going to have the resume that Montana has. He might maybe get there if his team ever got better. But this is a team game. I can't judge you based purely on Super Bowls, purely on wins, purely on victories. I have to take that stuff into account, which, by the way, Aaron Rodgers is a Super Bowl champion, but I'm not going to exclusively lock in on that, right? Because to me, if you don't allow me to have Aaron Rodgers, right, because he's still young-ish, he's still very much in the prime of his career, he's at the peak of his prime, I would argue, and he is, to me, not finished. Like, largely, there's a bunch of career left for this guy. Like, he could go further. He can do more. I get it. If you won't allow me Aaron Rodgers, you will have to allow me Dan Marino. Like, go back and watch Dan Marino play. Like, go back and watch it. Dan Marino is of guys whose careers are completed, the best quarterback I've ever seen play football with my own two eyes. Okay? The anticipation that he could throw with, the way that he felt his way around the pocket, his arm. Dan Marino had a super laser rocket arm. His football mind. The fact that Dan Marino never played with a great defense, he gets punished for because you can't win a Super Bowl without one. And the fact that Dan Marino never really played with elite wide receiver weapons, like good, but never elite, he gets punished for that too. But if you're just going to go with, oh yeah, the best guy that I've ever seen throw a football, it's Marino. It's Marino. And when Aaron Rodgers' career is done, provided it stays on the pace and on the arc that it's going, it's going to be him. Right? Like, to me, that's the truer measure of greatness. And it's not something that's just subjective in all opinion, because like Michael Jordan's career, Michael Jordan left to go play baseball, as we all know the story goes. And when Michael Jordan walked away the first time, everybody said, that guy's the greatest basketball player we've ever seen. He's the greatest. That's what they said. That guy's the best basketball player I've ever seen. And so people who use Michael Jordan's 6 rings to say that, you know, Tim Duncan can never be considered greater than Michael, and that Kobe can never be considered greater than Michael, and like LeBron can never be considered greater than Michael, it's insane because we put Michael at the peak before Michael had 6 rings. We weren't counting his championships. What we were looking at was Michael Jordan, every single night that he goes to play basketball, does the craziest stuff. Okay? Stuff you wouldn't believe. Like, if you had a friend, and like, because Michael Jordan played in the 90s before the internet, if you had a friend that missed the game, dude just missed it. Like, whatever it was that Michael did, whether it was the flu game, whether it was the shot that he had where he was going to dunk it, then he switched hands mid-air and changed it to a layup even though he didn't have to because he's Michael Jordan, or when they were playing Cleveland and he had that spin move to where his back was facing the rim and he just kind of chucked it over his head and it swished. Like, Michael Jordan, the list of Michael Jordan plays that if you just didn't watch it in that time period, you just didn't see it. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. And that was why we all thought Michael was the greatest. Because you just, with your two eyes, like when I watch Tom Brady play, I don't watch a guy doing things that I've never seen before. And this is not to knock Tom Brady in any particular kind of way, because when I watch Tom Brady, I watch a guy that plays at an exceedingly high level. When I watch Tom Brady, I watch a guy that plays longevity-wise. Tom Brady's never injured, always available. He only had that one season where he tore the ACL. Everything else, Tom Brady, like, he's always there. And one of my favorite sayings is availability is the best ability. Without the shadow of a doubt, Tom Brady's availability was a huge part of his ability. The other part of his availability, of his ability rather, is the fact that he's one of the most accurate passers of all time. The fact that he hasn't done it with elite receivers either necessarily. And like, whenever you give Tom Brady anything nearing an elite receiver, not even an actually elite receiver, anything nearing an elite receiver, Super Bowl. Right? Like, he had like Brandon Lloyd, and Brandon Lloyd's not elite. Like, he's the next tier down. He's really good. Brandon Lloyd was super fast. Nearing an elite receiver, they went to a Super Bowl. Right? They gave Tom Brady Randy Moss for one season. For one season. They burned the NFL record book to the ground. They won 18 games in a season with no losses. And quite frankly, they are one horrifyingly bizarre Eli Manning sideline throw from going 19-0, having the greatest undefeated season in the history of the NFL. Like, they're that far, which is bonkers. It's absolutely bonkers. I'm not taking anything away from Tom Brady, but Tom Brady doesn't pass the eye test of who's greater. Like, if I put Tom Brady alongside Joe Montana, you said, choose the guy that you think is the best, I'm taking Joe Montana. Like, Tom Brady did not come into the NFL the greatest athlete. Tom Brady did not come into the NFL with the strongest arm. All of the stuff that Tom Brady did, and there's a lot to respect there. Like, a lot of the stuff that Brady did, Brady built on himself, right? Tom Brady became one of the most accurate passers in the game. Tom Brady became a guy with a reliable deep ball. He worked at his craft and became all of those things. But he didn't come into the league with that. And much of his career, especially the first 3 Super Bowls, he was not that. The first 2 Super Bowls that the Patriots won with Brady, those were defensive teams, right? Like, it's only recently that they've become a more offensively centralized unit. They've given him Gronk. They've gotten him weapons. And yeah, Tom Brady has played in some systems. But I will also say this in defense of Tom Brady, right? Because it sounds like I'm just completely ripping the guy like, boy, he's not the GOAT at all. Like, I will say this in defense of Tom Brady. Everybody plays in a system, right? The Brady haters love to say this. He plays in a system. He's a system quarterback. He's a system quarterback. Hey, okay, fine. Find me a quarterback that didn't play in a system, and I will find you an awful quarterback. There is no such thing as a guy that didn't play in a system. There's only one quarterback that I can think of in my whole life that went on a playoff run and didn't play in a real system, and that was Dante Culpepper with the Minnesota Vikings, with Mike Tice as head coach, and they didn't have a system. I mean, they did have a system. The system was just throw the ball to Randy Moss. But like that's as close to not having a system as you can get. Like, it's really just like, where's Randy? Just throw it over there. Oh, he's got 3 defenders draped on him like his own clothes. It's fine. It's Randy. He'll go get it. Like, that's not a system. And like, when Randy Moss is gone, then like you see Dante Culpepper just like fall to pieces. Like, they put him on the cover of Madden, and that was like the end of his career, essentially. That to me is the closest. And like, nobody's been able to replicate that. There's no such thing as a non-system quarterback. Like, they all play in a system. Every single one of them. And not just to leave this just to quarterbacks, by the way, we all live our lives in a system. Like, we all answer to bosses, and part of our success comes from how can we fit into a system. And for those of you that are self-employed, maybe not working under a boss, if you are self-employed and you are any kind of successful, you've created a system to work in, or you've borrowed a system to work in, or whatever the case may be. We're all system people. Like, the system knock is the thing that just blows my mind. When you talk about Brady, for me, where he gets fortunate and where he gets more credit than I think that he should, is that his early Super Bowls were not the result of his own greatness exclusively, but rather he had a fantastic defense. They had a fantastic running game. Adam Vinatieri is the most clutch kicker in the history of kickers. Like, when it came down to pressure kicks, that guy was getting you 3 points. And it's not a coincidence that Adam Vinatieri leaves the Patriots, goes to the Colts, and that's the first Super Bowl that Peyton Manning enjoys. Adam Vinatieri beats the Patriots alongside Peyton. Like, having all of these other things that cause your team to be great, that stuff is hugely important. And that stuff is the stuff that, like, we don't ever discredit, quote unquote, we don't ever discredit Brady with. Like, the thing that I hear the most about discrediting him is, well, he's a system guy. He's always played in a system. Never mind that they changed offensive coordinators like 5 times over the course of his career, because guys go on to try and be head coaches somewhere. Bill O'Brien went away. Josh McDaniels went away and then came back. Like, they've changed offensive systems. Like, it's not just purely system-based with him, but even if it were, Joe Montana, the guy that before Brady became the greatest quarterback of all time, we considered to be the greatest quarterback of all time, Joe Montana played in a system with a really famous name, the West Coast offense. Like, Bill Walsh created arguably one of the most prolific quarterback systems of all time. Right? Like that's a huge deal. Clutch with Keon Rose on AM 1240 and 92.7 FM. Also, make sure to check us out on Noogaradio.com, our website. You can find our Facebook and our Twitter from there. And I got a couple of clutch performances. That's going to be a thing, but they're not from the world of sports. Next.
The Tennessee Valley's news, talk, and sports leader. Nooga Radio, AM 1240 and 92.7 FM.
3, 2, 1.
Chattanooga Radio, AM 1240 and 92.7 FM's news now.
A body was found on East Brainerd Road just after a shots fired call was reported to police, but the body of 20-year-old Marcus Bradfield doesn't show any piercings by bullets. The medical examiner has been called in to determine the cause of death. Both eyewitnesses and the police reported hearing gunshots fired. A man was shot in the hand on Dodds Avenue in an apparent drive-by shooting. Baldwin says he was just walking to his car when another car pulled up beside him and somebody inside fired shots. He was hit in the hand. Nobody else was struck. The gunman has not been found, and the Violent Crimes Bureau is investigating. A car smashed into a power substation on Crabtree Road, and the driver had to be cut out by the Dallas Bay Volunteer Fire Department. He's been rushed to the hospital. EPB had to shut the power off to the power station before more damage was done. TBI put out an endangered child alert, and now the missing child has been found. 13-year-old Matthew Hancock found safely at his friend's house. Russell Stroud, Nooga Radio News, now.
In-depth traffic, news, and information. Mornings on Nooga Radio, AM 1240 and 92.7 FM.
Expect clear skies to continue through your nighttime. Not as cool overnight, lows closer to 60. For Tuesday, more sunshine, still looking dry for the next several days. Heating up, highs into the upper 80s with more mostly sunny and hot weather for the midweek with highs near 90. 8 days, 5 stages, and nearly 100 bands. Don't miss out on making memories at Tennessee Valley's Family Reunion. Get the best seats in the house at riverbendfestival.com. Discount admission at Circle K. And I'm Sports 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Orr. On Nooga Radio, AM 1240 and 92.7 FM.
Need windows? Hey folks, do you need new windows? Good news. Window Depot of Chattanooga has a great special going on right now. 10 high-quality, energy-efficient double-hung vinyl windows installed for only $29.90. That's right, 10 double-hung vinyl windows, only $2,990. And yes, they qualify for the TVA rebates. Call 894-0011. Window Depot of Chattanooga today, located at 5950 Shaliford Road. Call 894-0011 today.
If I'm the city's most intelligent man, it's because I take 2 shots of Mind Enhancement Complex every day. Nature's Finest keeps me stocked with my mainstay, Formula 4. That's where I start. Formula 4. Industrial farming, soil depletion, mineral empty foods. I just say no. Ask about supplements, health, stamina, circulation, heart, prostate under control. Get the Nooga Radio David Tulis freebie. Save $2 on every 5, 20% off. Nooga Radio, we highway nature's finest.
The American dream. Home ownership. Are you building equity for your landlord? Why not build that equity for yourself and your family? Rent No More is a no obligation, no cost program. It's designed to teach you the steps necessary and to coach you all along the path to home ownership. Integrity Mortgage Group is owned and operated by local expert Jeff Woody Woodburn. Jeff has been in the mortgage business for over 15 years. Born and raised right here in the Chattanooga area. Jeff is also known as the Lone Ranger. He's helped countless hundreds. Really eager to help you too. So don't wait. Come on, call Danielle right now. You need to reserve your spot for this exciting, informative event. Space is limited, so call now to reserve yours. It's free. 423-517-8004. 423-517-8004. Call 423-517-8004. Hey, Nooga Radio is proud to partner with Integrity Mortgage Group to bring you Rent No More. Reserve your spot for this exciting, informative event. Space is limited, so call now to reserve yours. It's free. 423-517-8004. 423-517-8004. Call 423-517-8004. Stop building equity for your landlord. Live the American dream. Home ownership with Rent No More. We'll see you there.
I have the best steak selection in town. Name of the business is Don's Meat Shop, and I'm Donnie Raines. Just ask for Donnie. I make over 20 different types of sausages. Most of them are great for grilling. We have the best selection, best quality. We have the hard-to-find items. Don's Meat Shop.
He stole out so much cash, such a huge mountain of cash, that he's become a national star. Rick Davis, you know the story. Cash, 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 and more cash. People can't believe it. They want to see it. And now Rick Davis has a new TV show. National TV, USA and Canada. He's got the gold and silver, diamonds and rings. You get dizzy just thinking about it. Rick's selling, Rick's buying. Cash, 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 and more cash. And now a mountain of cash catching the Hollywood spotlight. You know where it is, Brainerd Road. Rick Davis, Gold and Diamonds. Cash, 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 and national TV cash. That's really big. Everyone wants to see it. Money flying out the door. Rick Davis is America's jeweler. It's better than Hollywood. It's right here. Cash, 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 and more cash. Rick Davis, Gold and Diamonds. Brainerd Road.
You love me. You really love me.
The Tennessee Valley's news, talk, and sports leader. Nooga Radio, AM 1240 and 92.7 FM.
I'm blowing everything up. We're starting over. I'm doing a new show. I want guys who push it to the middle of the table and go over the top. Take a risk, fail miserably. I'm right, and I'm not wrong, and I'll never back down. Conflict works. Allow it.
It's The Herd with Colin Cowherd. Right here and everywhere. Noon Eastern.
The Tennessee Valley's news, talk, and sports leader. Nooga Radio, AM 1240 and 92.7 FM.
I don't mind a little bit of honesty. I think that's what makes radio cooler than any other form of media is I don't have to pretend anything, right? We put all of our stuff up on YouTube. Go to noogaradio.com, click on the YouTube link. This show is streaming live on YouTube right now. You can see me. I've got all my notes and stuff in front of me. I'm not pretending anything. It's a very honest thing here, right? So when I look at the way that the NBA works, there are two things that I hate probably more than anything. More. Like just in all of sports. Like not just basketball, in just all sports. The two things that I hate in the NBA are when players do that rip move where they have the ball, someone's guarding them, and then they take their arms with the ball and push their arms into the other guy and draw a foul. And the refs call that all the time, right? Like James Harden's entire game is built on that. If they took that away from the game, I feel like we don't even have a James Harden MVP discussion. That's like 17% of his game. It's a decent enough chunk that it matters. I can't stand it. That is not basketball. And it's weird because they've taken away the side-to-side version of that where you would side swipe a guy with your hands, but you can still do the vertical up and down version of that, and you're fine. Which to me is bizarre because they're both the same exploitation of the rules. And I hate it. I cannot stand it. But it's there in the league. But the other thing I can't stand, the thing that I probably hate the most, and it has some blurry lines with how you would referee it. But the thing that I can't stand is when a guy jumps up to shoot a jumper, and his defender takes away the space underneath him. Just cuts it out. I can't stand that because we've already seen a couple of injuries from the playoffs already with that, right? So we saw the Kawhi Leonard one. Zaza Pachulia slides underneath Kawhi Leonard in the third quarter, injures Kawhi Leonard. Well, the Spurs are up 23. After Kawhi Leonard gets injured, the Warriors score 18 points in a row. I mean, and people are calling Zaza Pachulia dirty and all of this stuff. And I don't know about all that. It's really hard to judge the intent there, but I will say this with Zaza. Kawhi Leonard was landing, and Zaza stepped underneath him. And because it was a fadeaway jump shot, Zaza actually had to take a second step to wind up underneath his space. Like to wind up underneath Kawhi Leonard there requires, on some level, the conscious thought that your goal is to get underneath the guy. Because your natural closeout action when a guy shoots a fadeaway jumper wouldn't put you underneath him. It just doesn't. Like it really would not. And so to see that, I didn't like it. I don't like it. Obviously, the other one I'm referring to is in the Wizards-Celtics series where Al Horford, for which I have still not forgiven Al Horford. He slides under Markieff Morris and injures his ankle. The Wizards end up losing that game. Al Horford, I think, did it on purpose. Like, to me, I've played pickup basketball, and I understand it's different, okay? I'm not delusional. It's pickup ball with the guys. But you know what? Guys roll their ankles all the time, and it's never rolling your ankle because you took a jumper and someone slid under you. That never happens. That never happens. And you know why? You know why? Because it's not a natural basketball move. I will argue that to the death. I grew up in San Antonio. Bruce Bowen was the best defensive player on the Spurs when I lived there. And this was a point of contention all the time. Is Bruce Bowen a dirty player? Is Bruce Bowen not a dirty player? And like Bruce Bowen did that to people all the time. Guys would shoot jumpers, and then Bruce Bowen would slide underneath them and try and hurt them. Right? Like Bruce will deny this till the day that he dies, and I don't care. I watched basketball and I watched him with my own two eyes. Like he was dirty. He was definitely dirty. Okay, we're talking about a man who once kicked Wally Szczerbiak in the face, which I didn't really have a huge problem with because I hate Wally Szczerbiak, but that's a different story for another day. The point is, Bruce Bowen definitely dirty, and like it's a unanimous decision, right? Jalen Rose once did it to Kobe Bryant, and the reason why I bring up the Jalen Rose thing is because basically Jalen Rose admitted it, right? Like we like to talk about these things, and we give athletes the benefit of the doubt, where it's like, no, these are big, strong, high-performance athletes. If it was something that he could have stopped himself from doing, he would have stopped himself from doing it. Right? If he could have stopped it, he would have stopped it. And I'm not going to give you the benefit of that doubt because there are a couple of athletes who have done that, a couple of basketball players who have done that and admitted, hey, I did it on purpose. Jalen Rose did step underneath Kobe Bryant on purpose, rolled his ankle, got him out the game. And Jalen Rose admitted later on he was lighting us up. So that's something that at least some guys do, which brings me to the next point. Zaza Pachulia said that he would never do that to anybody, and you want to beat the other team at full strength. And there is a pride thing to beating the other team at full strength. But you know what? You know what feels better than beating the other team at full strength? Just beating the other team. Because like you weren't beating them at full strength is the thing. When they were at full strength, they had a 23-point lead on you. Then you injured Kawhi Leonard and you win the ball game. You know what's better than facing another team at full strength? You know what's better than that? Just beating them. You know, like I don't 100% buy that players want to beat the other team at full strength. Now, don't get me wrong. As a fan, that's what I want the player to say. That's what I want the player to be like. Yeah, beat them at full strength. As a fan, that's what I want. But in reality, I know in my actual life, if I had to interview for a job and it was me and a bunch of other guys and like maybe all the other guys got sick and that's why I got the job, I'm not necessarily crying over the fact that I got a job because everybody else was sick, right? Like maybe I wasn't their first choice or their second choice or their third choice, but I got the job. And I'm going to keep it. right? Like if you make the most of the opportunity that presents itself, by all means. Now, cheating in sports is a thing, and we don't like to talk about it. We don't like to admit it. We like to pretend that nobody cheats. Everybody's all fair play all the time, even though historically that is impossible. And I would argue a good percentage of guys do end up doing some level of roughery and dirtiness, especially a guy like Zaza Pachulia, right? Like there's nothing wrong with a guy like Zaza Pachulia. But Zaza Pachulia, if Zaza Pachulia did not act as a guy who could hurt people, what would be his purpose on that team? They could replace Zaza Pachulia with like just about any tall guy in the league. What would Zaza's purpose be if not to be at least a little bit rough defensively? Because he's not the only guy in the league like that, right? Like Zaza Pachulia is one of many. Kelly Olynyk is the other guy. Kelly Olynyk destroyed Kevin Love's shoulder 2 years ago. Like what would Kelly Olynyk do in the NBA if he did not play rough and potentially hurt people? What would he do? Like he's a decent shooter, but he can't create his own shot. He's a horrible rebounder. He's a worse defender. What would Kelly Olynyk actually do in the NBA? Right? Like, what would he actually do? And by the way, this is not an endorsement of cheating. I would rather nobody cheat. I'm not endorsing cheating. I'm saying we all prefer it when we get an edge. You got a bunch of highly competitive people in a situation where they're getting paid to compete. Legacies are on the line. Somebody's going to go out and create their own edge. And sometimes it's the guy that if he didn't do that, like if he doesn't do the rough play that's on the line, like might not have a job in the NBA at all. Dante Jones, for an absolute fact, if Dante Jones weren't dirty. Dante Jones with the Cleveland Cavaliers, by the way, because they're not so innocent either. Dante Jones also slides up under people shooting. Like Dante Jones did not play dirty. Dante Jones doesn't play basketball in the NBA. And you want to know how I know this? Because right before the playoffs, Dante Jones was not on a team. Okay? 30 teams in the NBA, all 30 decided that they did not want him, and as a result, Cleveland is able to pick him up. You know what they're paying Dante Jones? They're paying Dante Jones like $9,000. He's going to make $9,000, which seems like an awful lot for how long he's going to be on this team. But when you consider the millions that everybody else on the team is making, Dante Jones ain't making a whole heck of a lot. He's not. Dante Jones is on that team to be the dirty guy. That's his job. And if Dante Jones weren't the dirty guy, Dante Jones doesn't have a job in the NBA. He doesn't. Okay? This is not a situation where you're talking about a guy who's dirty, but it's like he's useful. Okay? Like Draymond Green plays dirty, right? And part of it is because if Draymond Green always kicks his leg up, then you can't always say like, okay, he doesn't do that. He only does that here when he's trying to hurt people. Like, no, he just always kicks his leg up. So when he does use his leg to hurt people, well, then what are you going to say? Right? Like Draymond's very smart about this, but Draymond Green does a lot of non-dirty things. If Draymond Green was not a dirty player, he'd still be an incredible rebounder, passer. You'd still be able to run portions of your offense through him the way the Warriors do. And he's not a half bad three-point shooter, right? Like, if that was all it was. Dante Jones, that's all Dante Jones does. He does nothing else. Okay, Kelly Olynyk does nothing else. Zaza Pachulia does nothing else. Like that to me is really suspicious that you've just got these guys, these same guys, the guys that can't do anything else. And they find themselves in the position over and over and over again where they're injuring people. And I can't stand it. Like, for me, I understand there's a level of competition and gamesmanship that is going to happen and is going to occur. I do. Like, you're going to foul people in a basketball game and get away with it. You're going to grab on someone's jersey during a rebound. You're going to move a little bit during a screen. I'm fine with that. Like, if I'm fine with pushing the boundaries and forcing the referees to adjust, because that's their job, I have no problems with this. Where my problems come in is when guys start getting injured. Now we can't do that. I don't like that on any team at any time. And the fact that it's sort of been a sort of prevalent thing that's been happening, and guys try it and try to get away with it. I'm saying the NBA has these points of emphasis every season where they find something and they key in on it and they go, okay, this is something that we're going to try and legislate out of the game. Like, one of the things that they did was when you score, they don't want the player who just scored to touch the ball. You touch the ball afterwards, it's a delay of game unless the ball touches you on accident, right? Like, if you dunk, don't catch it and then throw it somewhere else. Just leave it. Let the ref get it, okay? And they've legislated that out of the game. To me, that wasn't even something that was ever a problem. Like, if you're going to legislate stuff out of the game, I don't know, legislate stuff that might actually help the game. This would be one of those things, that point of emphasis. If we see you scooting up underneath the guy shooting, guess what? That's a whistle. And if it looks like you're doing it on purpose, and I don't want the league to review it during the game to try and see if we're going to toss a guy during the game, because I think that this just ends up wasting time ultimately. It's going to waste game time if the referee is looking to try and see if he can gauge intent. And then, then what if you're wrong and you toss the guy and then decide later, I shouldn't have tossed the guy? I don't want that. That makes things really complicated. But I think that the league office should look at this stuff after the fact, right? Like, look at those plays after the fact and go, okay, you look like you were trying to hurt a guy. You do. And we're going to suspend you for a game. And at first, you're going to get some people accidentally. But you know what that's going to do? It's going to make people really, really careful about that. Because at worst, you did it on purpose with the intent to hurt a guy, which is wrong. The best case scenario, you were just being reckless and careless, and you still hurt a guy. It's going to make people a heck of a lot more careful. I can tell you that. Clutch with Keon Rose on AM 1240 and 92.7 FM. So I saw some really clutch performances this weekend. Right? The Washington Nationals, Bryce Harper hit the walk-off home run. And then the Wizards had their thing. John Wall hit the clutch 3. And then last night, Steph Curry with the clutch floater to give the Warriors the lead over the Spurs that they would eventually hold on to and wind up winning the game. What I have realized is that you can be clutch in places that are not sports. You could be clutch in places that are not sports, where you might be in a bad spot, and then a friend of yours comes through and saves you. You could be a clutch performer in a situation it's not sports. And so I was looking at this thing, the Eurovision Song Contest, which has 200 million viewers around the world. It's apparently a very big contest internationally. I was not aware of this. I don't really know that much about it, but like, a singer comes up, she or he sings on a stage, and there's lots of people walking around, like standing around cheering, and it looks like a giant concert situation. It looks absolutely intense. It sometimes routinely, internationally speaking, has more viewers than the Super Bowl. So at the event, the winner of last year's competition, Ukrainian singer Jamala, she was performing her newest hit, and she was singing the song. And this guy hops up on stage, because people like to streak and do all those things. This man hops up on stage. He's draped in the Australian flag for whatever reason. And then he pulls his pants down and moons about 200 million people watching this competition. And here's where the clutch performance comes into play. The singer, the Ukrainian singer, Jamala, does not stop singing. At no point does she ever slow down. Does she pay any attention to the man whose bare bottom is exposed to the entire planet? At no point does she actually stop. None. At no point does this distract her. She is unfazed. She does not even blink. She does not blink, which is the most mind-blowing thing ever. Like when you're talking about a guy with ice water in his veins, he's at the free throw line, you know that he needs to make this free throw to tie the game, and then he misses the free throw. And we say the guy choked. She's sitting there in a situation where anyone would have forgiven you. Anyone would have forgiven you for not being able to finish your song there, right? Because we live in a world where Adele at the Grammys starts to sing a song and then stops the band and says, no, we need to start over. I didn't feel good about the way we were starting. We need to do it right in possibly the most divalicious on-screen move that we've seen in the last 2 years. Like that to me is the equivalent of the choke job. This is the pressure is high. Okay, you've got people watching this, more people watching this than watch the Super Bowl. And here comes a guy ready to ruin your day. I mean, he pulls his pants down. He's letting the whole world see where the sun don't shine. And she doesn't miss a beat. Nothing. Doesn't blink. Her voice doesn't waver. In fact, it sounds like she just sang better. That is the ideal. The absolutely ideal non-sports clutch performance, of which I have collected a few, and I will sprinkle throughout this show and possibly in future shows. The show is called Clutch. But I'll be completely honest with you, man. Baseball season is here, and it's early baseball season, and the Braves are not very good. At basketball, we are running out of good basketball to talk about. It is, what are we, 103 days away from the beginning of the college football season? It is a long time from now. This is stuff we got to talk about. I don't mind having an open and honest conversation with you. This is the stuff we have to talk about. The great non-sports clutch performances of all time. When a man jumps up on stage and moons the world and you don't stop and you don't skip a beat. That there, I was impressed. She didn't even seem to notice it. He ran it in front of her face. It was incredible. Clutch with Keon Rose at AM 1240 and 92.7 FM. Ed Orgeron, SEC teleconference, as he talks possibly the weakest quarterback battle of all time.
Nooga Radio, AM 1240, 92.7 FM.
Chattanooga's best kept secret, Boyd Speedway. Come see the fastest dirt late model drivers in the South compete for a purse every Saturday night. Pit gates open at 3, grandstand opens at 5. Racing starts at 7. Bring the whole family for a night of fun as they tear it up on the dirt track. Go to BoydSpeedway.net and check out the Dirt Simulator. BoydSpeedway.dirtsimulator.com. Chattanooga's best kept secret, Boyd Speedway. Fun-filled, outrageous racing. We'll see you Saturday night.
The UCRA Crate Late Model Event. Limited late models, crate late models, sportsman, hobby, and street stocks.
Boyd Speedway.
Competent, kind, caring, knowledgeable, experienced, great listener, great negotiator, in touch, accessible. If these are the characteristics you want and need in a realtor, you want and need Thomas DeMoss of Keller Williams Realty. Thomas is a very gifted realtor who puts the client's needs first. Whether you're buying or selling a home, Thomas is the realtor of choice. Thomas will help and guide you through each step of this very important process. For many of us, the purchase of a home is one of our largest investments and most important family and financial decision. Let Thomas use his 10 years of experience in the Chattanooga real estate market to give you the advantage you need when buying or selling a home. Buying a house? Thomas can help you navigate the emotional and somewhat anxious process of buying a home. For those of you who want to sell a house, Thomas uses his marketing and negotiating experience to help you sell your home for top dollar. Thomas is a local resident, raising his family here in Hamilton County. He knows the area very well. For many agents, real estate is a job. With Thomas DeMoss, it's a passion and what he loves to do. Call Thomas today for a no-obligation consultation. He makes the process as simple as possible. Call 423-364-0028 and visit his website, northriverpropertygroup.com.
Picture that curl of steam rising from your fresh-made pizza. And in a flash, let it take you aloft, teasing all your senses. I'm talking about Jet's Pizza. If you eat out at Jet's in Hickson or take home your steaming deep dish square pizza, you'll love Jet's. They use only the best ingredients in a family recipe. Also try the cheesy bread, wings, chicken, Or bread with bacon, antipasta or Greek salad, Jet's Pizza and Buy Low near the S-Curves. Open till 10 p.m. Sunday through Thursday and 11 p.m. Friday and Saturday. You can order online or have it delivered. jetspizza.com. That's jetspizza.com. Or call them now. They'll have it ready when you get there. 757-1616. That's 757-1616.
Jet's Pizza, the best pizza in town. 3600 Hickson Pike.
Life is short. Eat better pizza.
Let's get Jets.
Final expenses, funeral cost, cemetery lots, unpaid medical bills, probate cost, debts. Debts are due and payable upon death of debtor. Will these costs produce a burden and hardship on your loved ones? Who will be responsible? How will they handle them? These costs can total many thousands of dollars, only compounded greater with the grief of losing a family member. A safe and secure way to provide for these costs is with an affordable life insurance from Covenant Group Insurance and Financial Services. Covenant Group is a local company with local agents. Covenant Group still makes house calls. Covenant Group only represents A-rated companies. With many options to offer, Covenant Group can accommodate almost any budget. Great discounts for good health and plans available for impaired risk. Call today for a free, no-obligation consultation in the convenience of your home. Call Steve or Jada at 423-855-8484. Call today, 423-855-8484.
It is Eric Jones hard into the outside wall, and they are still 3 and 4 wide. It looks like we're racing at Talladega.
Caution flag is out. It looked like Denny Hamlin was trying to get by Ricky Stenhouse. Got into the back of Ricky at the line. Man, that's a close one. Matt Kenseth wins stage 1.
Green checkered flag is out, and Brad Keselowski has won stage 2.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. into the wall. That will bring out the caution. Caution waving once again. And again, it's Dale Earnhardt Jr. involved.
Oh, trouble. Ty Dillon has gotten turned to the inside of the racetrack, and Clint Boyer has just nailed him.
Matt Kenseth falling back, the field storming by. Something wrong. Now we see sparks from Kenseth's Toyota.
Larson chops him off, coming off turn number 2, nose to tail. Now it's Logano to the high side in 3.
Joey Logano, a winner here at the Richmond International Raceway.
Hear it live on Chattanooga's official NASCAR radio station.
Nooga Radio, AM 1240, 92.7 FM.
The voice of NASCAR.
WBLZ HD4 Ottawa, W224AZ Chattanooga,
WSDT Sunny Daisy Chattanooga.
Classified data on ISIS. Did President Trump let that slip at a White House meeting?
To reveal this information, Russian officials will bring a lot of concern to lawmakers.
The global cyber hacking 3 days ago, some security experts say
North Korea may be behind the attack.
This is the CBS World News Roundup Late Edition. I'm Dave Barrett. It was last Wednesday when Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov came to the White House for an Oval Office meeting with President Trump. Russian Ambassador Sergei Kislyak was there as well. Washington Post reporter Ed O'Keefe has the gist of what occurred.
The president had this meeting with the Russian foreign minister and the ambassador and is believed to have shared information regarding the Islamic State from one of our allies in which we have an intelligence partnership in which he was not authorized to share.
Mr. Trump is said to have discussed classified information on ISIS and threats against aircraft. Correspondent Jeff Pegues.
According to the Washington Post, the president went off script and began describing details about an Islamic State terrorist threat related to the use of laptop computers on aircraft. The information the president shared reportedly came from a U.S. ally and was considered so sensitive that it had not been shared with other countries.
Michael Morell is the former number 2 man at the CIA. He is CBS's senior national security contributor, and he spoke with the CBS World News Roundup moments ago, says this disclosure is highly damaging. Michael Morell says first,
the Russians will certainly try to figure out what the source or method was that produced this information so that they could figure out whether it is also collecting on their activities in Syria. And as they do that, they could disrupt the source.
And Michael Morell says there's a second key issue.
Third countries that provide the United States with intelligence information will now have pause about whether to continue to do that in the future because they'll be concerned about the president sharing their information with another country.
And the big unknown here is whether President Trump can stick to whatever information he's been provided, i.e. what he should or should not say?
I think that's the big issue here. I don't think the president did this on purpose. I think it was a mistake, and I think it reflects the fact that he does not stick to talking points.
Secretary of State Rex Tillerson has issued a statement a short time ago. He says during that Oval Office exchange, quote, the nature of specific threats were discussed, but they did not discuss sources, methods, or military operations. Dina Powell, Deputy National Security Advisor for Strategy, attended that meeting. She says in a statement that this story is false. The president only discussed the common threats that both countries faced. Wall Street Dow was up 76, NASDAQ gained 23, setting another record, 61.44. S&P had a record as well, gaining nearly 10. Now this.
Ransomware is software that can infiltrate your business through email, enabling cyber criminals to hijack sensitive information as ransom for your own data's release. Leveraging Barracuda email security with advanced threat detection can stop a ransomware attack in its tracks. As an added measure, Barracuda Backup allows you to recover your data without having to surrender to extortion. Crime doesn't pay when you protect your business data with Barracuda. Go to barracuda.com/ransomware to learn more.
Finding great people to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. It's time to try ZipRecruiter, where 80% of jobs get a qualified candidate in just one day. How? Using powerful technology, ZipRecruiter matches your job to the right candidates fast. So, while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, only ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/find for your free trial. ZipRecruiter.com/find.
Now to the cyber attack that hit dozens of nations and companies last Friday. A couple of cybersecurity firms, Symantec and Kaspersky, point the finger at North Korea. An update at the White House today from the Homeland Security Advisor.
As of this morning, it has reached approximately 150 countries and infected more than 300,000 machines. The good news is the infection rates have slowed over the weekend.
And said Tom Bossert, when it comes to collecting ransom.
Despite appearing to be criminal activity intended to raise money, it appears that less than $70,000 has been paid in ransoms, and we are not aware if payments have led to any data recovery.
Were atrocities committed overseas by the Syrian regime? Were efforts made to cover that up? Stuart Jones, Acting Assistant Secretary for Near Eastern Affairs.
We now believe that the Syrian regime has installed a crematorium in the Sednaya prison complex, which could dispose of detainees' remains with little evidence.
You're listening to the CBS World News Roundup.
3, 2, 1. Chattanooga Radio, AM 1240 and 92.7 FM's news now.
A body was found on East Brainerd Road just after a shots fired call was reported to police, but the body of 20-year-old Marcus Bradfield doesn't show any piercings by bullets. The medical examiner has been called in to determine the cause of death. Both eyewitnesses and the police reported hearing gunshots fired. A man was shot in the hand on Dodds Avenue in an apparent drive-by shooting. Baldwin says he was just walking to his car when another car pulled up beside him and somebody inside fired shots. He was hit in the hand. Nobody else was struck. The gunman has not been found, and the Violent Crimes Bureau is investigating. A car smashed into a power substation on Crabtree Road, and the driver had to be cut out by the Dallas Bay Volunteer Fire Department. He's been rushed to the hospital. EPB had to shut the power off to the power station before more damage was done. TBI put out an endangered child alert, and now the missing child has been found. 13-year-old Matthew Hancock found safely at his friend's house. Russell Stroud, Nooga Radio News, now.
In-depth traffic, news, and information. Mornings on Nooga Radio, AM 1240 and 92.7 FM.
Expect clear skies to continue through your nighttime. Not as cool overnight, lows closer to 60. For Tuesday, more sunshine, still looking dry for the next several days. Heating up, highs into the upper 80s with more mostly sunny and hot weather for the midweek with highs near 90. 8 days, 5 stages, and nearly 100 bands. Don't miss out on making memories at Tennessee Valley's Family Reunion. Get the best seats in the house at riverbendfestival.com. Discount admission at Circle K. And I'm Swarteen 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Ward. On Nooga Radio, AM 1240 and 92.7 FM.
Nooga Radio, AM 1240 and 92.7 FM knows your opinion is important. So call 800-8949. Agree or disagree? Call 423-800-8949. 800-8949. Nooga Radio, AM 1240, 92.7 FM, and 95.3 HD4. News, talk, sports. Nooga Radio.
Good afternoon, Chattanooga. You're listening to AM 1240, 92.7 FM. Clutch with Keon Rose, hour number 2 of the show. Clutch with Keon Rose is the show, by the way. So here's the thing. Because Tom Brady has said some things. He's given the Brady haters life. He's brought them back. Because, I mean, after the Super Bowl performance that Tom Brady had, I mean, what life did you have left? If your mission in life, if your goal in life was, I don't like Tom Brady, I'm going to let the world know, what purpose did you have in life after the Super Bowl? Because the man's got the greatest resume of all time. Right? Like, so what is your purpose here? And you have none. Can I be honest with you? Like, you don't have a purpose in life if your goal was to hate on Tom Brady, right? But Tom Brady said some things recently that gave some people life. This is what he said to Ian O'Connor over at the 4-letter. I know myself as a player. I really am a product of what I've been around, who I was coached by, and what I played against. In the era I played in, I really believe if a lot of people were in my shoes, they could accomplish the same kinds of things. So I've been very fortunate. Which, like, there is a certain level, like, you have to take this with many grains of salt. There's some humility in what Tom Brady is saying here, because he's got the greatest resume of all time. He's got the greatest resume of all time. So if your question is, or if your criteria is, show me what the resume is, show me the rings, show me the wins, then yes, Tom Brady is the greatest of all time. What I think Tom is getting at is the eye test. When you look at the eye test, is Tom Brady the greatest quarterback you've ever seen with your own two eyes? And I don't mean in terms of wins, in terms of championships, in terms of victories. I don't even really mean in terms of clutch performance. I mean when you look at the person play football with your own two eyes. Has anybody ever done that better? And for that, I would have to say, yeah, like at least a few people. Like, Tom Brady's still going to be in very high company. Like, at no point, if you make a top 5 list of greatest quarterbacks ever, should Tom Brady be lower than 3. If we're just going on sheer ability. Again, we're pulling numbers away. And I'm a numbers guy. I love numbers. But, like, let's pull numbers away from this. On just sheer ability, when you watch him play, is Tom Brady the best quarterback you've ever seen? Like, Tom Brady wouldn't agree with you. Tom Brady grew up idolizing Joe Montana the same way a lot of people grew up idolizing Joe Montana. And Joe Montana, you could argue, just in terms of, I see this with my own two eyes. That's the greatest I've ever seen. That's the greatest I've ever seen. And I wouldn't argue with you. Now, I will preface all of what I'm about to say next by saying that I'm 27 years old. So I'm young, right? Like, I was not alive for Montana. I missed it. But if we're just going on the eye test, if we're just going with based on what you've seen, Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback I've ever seen in my whole life. He's the best I've ever seen in my whole life. Aaron Rodgers was absolutely, without the shadow of a doubt, the best quarterback I have ever seen in my whole life. And I only know this because he's throwing passes to men named Geronimo. Ty Montgomery was one of his wide receivers at the beginning of the season and was, by season's end, with all the injuries and whatever else was happening to Green Bay, by season's end was his running back. Like, the Green Bay Packers didn't really have anybody on the offensive side of the football. They were a good offensive line unit, and that's about it. When it came to weapons, It consistently wasn't there. When it came to playmakers outside of Rodgers, basically wasn't there. The defense wasn't super reliable. Like, this was a bad Packers team. And Aaron Rodgers took a bad Packers team to an NFC title game absolutely did not deserve to be in, just based on pure talent level. But they had Aaron Rodgers, who in my opinion is the best quarterback that ever played, just with what I've seen with my own two eyes. If I just go based purely on what I have seen with my own two eyes, I would have to say Aaron Rodgers, he does things that nobody else does, that no quarterback before him can do when you're talking about he's one of the most accurate quarterbacks that's ever played the game. When you're talking about the mobility, when you're talking about the speed of his release, when you talk about his ability to improvise on plays, when you talk about his ability to have the defense perpetually and constantly on their heels, when you talk about all of those things, Aaron Rodgers is absolutely, without the shadow of a doubt, the greatest quarterback I've ever seen in my life. And I would rather not have anybody old man me right now. I don't want anybody to old man me. Don't call here. Right? Our phone number is 800-8949, 800-8949. Do not call this station and talk about, well, you're only 27 years old. You didn't see anybody else before. The internet exists. If you are a person who is too young to have seen the greatness of Joe Montana, the internet exists. You can look it up. You can find it. There are no excuses. None. You can look it up. There's no excuses. Absolutely no reason to not know how great Joe Montana was, right? And I say that because what I'm going to say next is, I think Dan Marino, for what it's worth, if you're going to talk about guys who have completed their careers, Dan Marino is the greatest I've ever seen do it. I've watched a lot of Dan Marino football games. I'm not a Dolphins fan. I didn't grow up watching the Dolphins. But you find great guys online, and you can find their games. You can find whole games. The NFL, by the way, their own YouTube channel, if you like looking it up legally without copyright infringing anything, the NFL puts whole football games on their YouTube channel. Like, you can just look them up. Dan Marino is, purely speaking, the greatest quarterback I've ever seen in my life. And if you want to say, well, Montana and the resume, like, if you want to hold up the resume, I'm really, really not going to fight you on it. But we're not talking about who's the most successful. We're talking about who's the greatest. When you talk about success and you talk about greatness, are those things necessarily the same thing? People who are great tend to be successful, but you don't have to be both. You could be great at something, and people might not be ready for it. For instance, I'm a big music guy. Franz Ferdinand is a band that I like a lot. They're a rock band. And what Franz Ferdinand was doing with rock music in the late 2000s, in the knots is what we're calling that, by the way. You got the 10s and the 20s and the 30s. The 2000s, apparently we're calling that the knots. I'm not sure how I feel about that. But anyway, Franz Ferdinand made music and people were not ready for what it was that Franz Ferdinand was doing. And it's funny because now a lot of rock music, when you listen to the Arctic Monkeys and bands like that, like, sound like what Franz Ferdinand was doing back in like 2005. Right? Like, you go back there, you'll find it. They were just ahead of the curve. They were great, but because people were not ready, they were not successful. Because you didn't design offenses and teams around it, right? A football example would be a guy like Fran Tarkenton. Fran Tarkenton is the original scrambling mobile quarterback. He ran around, he extended plays with his legs. He was still able, like, he was Russell Wilson before Russell Wilson. He was Michael Vick before Michael Vick. He did not have the speed of either, but he was more mobile than most quarterbacks at that time period. And he was the guy with the bravery to just do it, to just do it. But the league was not ready. People were not ready for Fran Tarkenton. They weren't. And as a result, Fran Tarkenton did not ever really, really get the success that other guys achieved. It was just the league was not ready for him. Sometimes you are great, but you're not necessarily successful. And some people are successful, but not necessarily great, right? Like the whole Kardashian family. They're very smart and savvy, but like, what are they great at? Like, name a thing that the Kardashians do worthy of all their success, to be worthy of all the success that they have. What do the Kardashians actually do? Right? Like, is it look attractive? Because that's really what a model does to be. Like, well, that's really just Kim. So what about the rest of the family? What do they do? They're successful. I wouldn't argue that the Kardashians are great. What do they do? Right? Like, you have to do a thing to be great. Like, you can be successful and not be great. You can be great and not successful. If you do something great and people aren't ready, you won't be successful. If you do something to be successful, you may not actually have to do anything. If people just decide you're successful, you're kind of successful. Right? Like, that's just kind of what it is. Clutch with Keon Rose on AM 1240 and 92.7 FM. Tom Brady's successful. He's the most successful. Tom Brady's great, but he's not the greatest. 800-8949 if you want to agree or disagree on that one. So let's jump on over to the good old SEC. Football is too far away. Like, there's just a good chunk of me that does not know what to do with all of this time, where there's over 100 days of not football left. And I promised that I wouldn't look at any countdowns or anything like that. I look at them. There's 103 days left until college football returns. And it's a rough life, right? The broadcasting business, like, people talk about this being an easy business to get into. It is not. It is absolutely not an easy business. And it's not an easy job. Okay. There are harder jobs. I'm not arguing that this one is the most difficult one that there is, not by a large margin. There are way more difficult jobs than this one, but this one is not an easy one either. And when people talk about broadcasting and how much fun and how interesting it is, like, we're not talking about summer. We never talk about summer with regards to these things. What we are talking about is football season. We're talking about college football. We're talking about the NFL, right? Like, after the NBA playoffs end, because I just hope we just have like 7-game series from here on out, because after it ends, it's kind of slim pickings from here on. If the Braves were good, this would be an easier thing to do. If the Braves were good. They're not good. This has become very difficult. So you end up like following every off-season story that exists. And one that I ended up seeing, I was like, it's Ed Orgeron, who, first off, Ed Orgeron drinks way too much caffeine. He drinks about 8 to 10 energy drinks a day, which is going to kill him. And I don't know how I feel about that, because he's my favorite SEC football coach. He might be my favorite football coach just in college football right now, possibly, just on a purely personality basis. I don't want Ed Orgeron to have anything ever happen to him. But when you drink 8 to 10 cans of energy drinks a day, I feel like we are delaying the inevitable. But he was talking about his quarterback battle. And it made my head kind of tilt a little bit, because what quarterback battle does LSU have? Right? Like, you look at the depth chart, and I don't see it. I do not see it. Okay. Now, he said that we've yet to see Miles Brennan. And the reason why there's a quarterback battle is because Matt Canada is on board. Matt Canada is a guy that's going to bring tempo and pace and speed to your offense, you are going to score points with Matt Canada as your offensive coordinator. And LSU, people are talking about like LSU, their offense is not going to change overnight. It's not going to bloom overnight. Sure. But it better, because they're paying Matt Canada a lot of money, right? Like he's the highest paid coordinator in the SEC, I believe. They're paying Matt Canada a lot. LSU's not trying to wait for a couple of years for him to get his bearings. Like they want to score points, and they wanted to score lots of points yesterday. So Ed Orgeron and Matt Canada, they're not trying to hang around and wait and see if they can get the right quarterback to fit the system. But I was always under the impression that, at least for now, because of the way that the recruiting worked out, and they just didn't have a quarterback on the roster because Les Miles did not concern himself necessarily with getting elite quarterbacks. Who even knows why? I was under the impression that there was no quarterback battle. It was just Danny Etling's job. And look, Ed Orgeron said on the SEC teleconference on Danny Etling, game manager, the first reason we open it up is because we have a new offense. So what they can do, see what Matt Canada can do. No one has beaten Danny out yet, although we've yet to see Miles Brennan. When he's healthy, he'll be tough to beat. And maybe if they make a change at quarterback, like I'm not even going to be opposed to it. I don't think that Danny Etling is the savior of LSU football. And certainly if you think that somebody can give you more offense and be more potent and more productive, do it. Always do it. Like don't let me get you down. I was just surprised that he wasn't widely considered to be the obvious best choice on this roster. The entire SEC, it feels like, is in full-on quarterback battle mode. And it's possibly the most overrated, most cliche thing in college football is these quarterback battles where it's like, okay, yeah, you could choose a guy, but can we talk about how Butch Jones has chosen the wrong guy in a quarterback battle before? Like he always chooses the upperclassman, more experienced guy. It's like the quarterback battles that he does, those are just shams. Typically. Otherwise, he would have started Josh Dobbs sooner. Like if he had known Dobbs would be good, he would have started Dobbs a little sooner, right? It wouldn't have taken Justin Worley getting injured for Josh Dobbs to come on in. So I didn't realize we had a quarterback battle on our hands with this one. And my least favorite words in college football is quarterback battle. It's the least, it's overrated as a topic to talk about. You know what's better to talk about? Like, you know, when I thought Danny Etling was absolutely the quarterback at LSU, you know what made that interesting to talk about? Okay, we know Etling's limitations. We know his strengths. We know his weaknesses. What does this mean for this offense? What can Matt Canada do for Danny Etling to maybe open him up a little bit? Now you're telling me anybody could be the quarterback. Well, I mean, I've got no philosophy to really talk about. I have no cause and effect to really talk about because it could just be anything. That's not interesting at all. The quarterback battles as a topic of conversation is a wildly overrated topic. Like just talking about it. What else is there to say unless you prefer strongly one guy over the other and you think the team putting on the quarterback battle is being absolutely ridiculous? And I don't think LSU is being ridiculous. I just did not realize that Danny Etling had to fight for this job. There's some jobs that there shouldn't be fights for these jobs, right? Like Jacob Eason should not have to fight for his job. Now, if you want to say that so that everybody feels like they're competing in camp, well, then go ahead and say that. But I don't honestly think that Jacob Eason is fighting for his job. I just don't. But come on now. Don't rook me on this. Don't mess with me like this. Danny Etling was, so far as anybody was concerned, the best option you had at quarterback. Why all of a sudden is he not the best option that you had a quarterback? Like, what changed overnight? Because it's different for a school like Auburn. They didn't really have anybody at quarterback, and then you get Jarrett Stidham to transfer from Baylor. Well, then you automatically, that guy's the best guy now that we have. It's just bizarre, is all I'm saying, right? Like, it's just weird. What do you mean? What do you mean it's open now? Why? What does anybody else bring to the table if you just can't wait a year to try and develop some of these guys and maybe recruit a guy for the long haul? Clutch with Keon Rose on AM 1240 and 92.7 FM. Make sure to check us out on Noogaradio.com.
The Tennessee Valley's news, talk, and sports leader. Nooga Radio, AM 1240 and 92.7 FM.
3, 2, 1.
Chattanooga Radio, AM 1240 and 92.7 FM's news now.
A body was found on East Brainerd Road just after a shots fired call was reported to police, but the body of 20-year-old Marcus Bradfield doesn't show any piercings by bullets. The medical examiner has been called in to determine the cause of death. Both eyewitnesses and the police reported hearing gunshots fired. A man was shot in the hand on Dodds Avenue in an apparent drive-by shooting. Baldwin says he was just walking to his car when another car pulled up beside him and somebody inside fired shots. He was hit in the hand. Nobody else was struck. The gunman has not been found, and the Violent Crimes Bureau is investigating. A car smashed into a power substation on Crabtree Road, and the driver had to be cut out by the Dallas Bay Volunteer Fire Department. He's been rushed to the hospital. EPB had to shut the power off to the power station before more damage was done. TBI put out an endangered child alert, and now the missing child has been found. 13-year-old Matthew Hancock found safely at his friend's house. Russell Stroud, Nooga Radio News, now.
In-depth traffic, news, and information. Mornings on Nooga Radio, AM 1240 and 92.7 FM.
Expect clear skies to continue through your nighttime. Not as cool overnight, lows closer to 60. For Tuesday, more sunshine. Still looking dry for the next several days. Heating up, highs into the upper 80s with more mostly sunny and hot weather for the midweek with highs near 90. 8 days, 5 stages, and nearly 100 bands. Don't miss out on making memories at Tennessee Valley's Family Reunion. Get the best seats in the house at riverbendfestival.com. Discount admission at Circle K. And I'm Sports Team 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Orr. On Nooga Radio, AM 1240 and 92.7 FM.
Need windows? Hey folks, do you need new windows? Good news. Window Depot of Chattanooga has a great special going on right now. 10 high-quality, energy-efficient double-hung vinyl windows installed for only $29.90. That's right, 10 double-hung vinyl windows, only $2,990. And yes, they qualify for the TVA rebates. Call 894-0011. Window Depot of Chattanooga today, located at 5950 Shalford Road. Call 894-0011 today.
If I'm the city's most intelligent man, it's because I take 2 shots of Mind Enhancement Complex every day. Nature's Finest keeps me stocked with my mainstay, Formula 4. That's where I start. Formula 4. Industrial farming, soil depletion, mineral empty foods. I just say no. Ask about supplements, health, stamina, circulation, heart, prostate under control. Get the Nooga Radio David Tulis freebie. Save $2 on every 5. 20% off. Nooga Radio, the highway, nature's finest.
The American dream. Home ownership. Are you building equity for your landlord? Why not build that equity for yourself and your family? Rent No More is a no obligation, no cost program. It's designed to teach you the steps necessary and to coach you all along the path to home ownership. Integrity Mortgage Group is owned and operated by local expert Jeff Woody Woodburn. Jeff has been in the mortgage business for over 15 years. Born and raised right here in the Chattanooga area. Jeff is also known as the Lone Ranger. He's helped countless hundreds. Really eager to help you too. So don't wait. Come on, call Danielle right now. You need to reserve your spot for this exciting, informative event. Space is limited, so call now to reserve yours. It's free. 423-517-8004. 423-517-8004. Call 423-517-8004. Hey, Nooga Radio is proud to partner with Integrity Mortgage Group to bring you Rent No More. Reserve your spot for this exciting, informative event. Space is limited, so call now to reserve yours. It's free. 423-517-8004. 423-517-8004. Call 423-517-8004. Stop building equity for your landlord. Live the American dream. Home ownership with Rent No More. We'll see you there.
I have the best steak selection in town. Name of the business is Don's Meat Shop, and I'm Donnie Raines. Just ask for Donnie. I make over 20 different types of sausages. Most of them are great for grilling. We have the best selection, best quality. We have the hard-to-find items. Don's Meat Shop.
He stole out so much cash, such a huge mountain of cash, that he's become a national star. Rick Davis. You know the story. Cash, 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 and more cash. People can't believe it. They want to see it. And now Rick Davis has a new TV show. National TV, USA and Canada. He's got the gold and silver, diamonds and rings. You get dizzy just thinking about it. Rick's selling. Rick's buying. Cash, 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 and more cash. And now a mountain of cash catching the Hollywood spotlight. You know where it is. Brainerd Road. Rick Davis, Gold and Diamonds. Cash, 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 and national TV cash. That's really big. Everyone wants to see it. Money flying out the door. Rick Davis is America's jeweler. It's better than Hollywood. It's right here. Cash, 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 and more cash. Rick Davis, Gold and Diamonds. Brainerd Road.
You love me. You really love me.
The Tennessee Valley's news, talk, and sports leader. Nooga Radio, AM 1240 and 92.7 FM.
I'm blowing everything up. We're starting over. I'm doing a new show. I want guys who push it to the middle of the table and go over the top. Take a risk, fail miserably. I'm right, and I'm not wrong, and I'll never back down. Conflict works. Allow it.
It's The Herd with Colin Cowherd. Right here and everywhere. Noon Eastern.
The Tennessee Valley's news, talk, and sports leader. Nooga Radio, AM 1240 and 92.7 FM.
If you allow me to self-indulge here for a half second, but tonight is the most important night of my sporting life. The whole thing. Tonight is the most important night of my whole sporting life. Never in my life have I watched a game this important to a team that I have rooted for in my whole life. Now, I grew up liking the New York Yankees because I lived in Washington for a while. I was a military brat. We moved all over the place. And Washington did not have a baseball team. And my mom had a book on Derek Jeter. And I thought Derek Jeter was the coolest person that ever lived. So I ended up rooting for the Yankees. And then we moved to Texas. And in 2005, the Houston Astros were the team that I rooted for. That team never won a title. But they were cool. I liked all those guys. You know, Bagwell, Biggio, that whole team. That was my team. And then Washington got a baseball team, so I started rooting for the Nationals, which is a point of contention here. People do not like me about that, and I am sorry. Okay, when the Braves get good, I will give you props. I can't now like them. I'm sorry, but we'll bond. We'll bond. I promise. But the Wizards play basketball tonight. And that is the team that I've rooted for since I was a small child. Michael Jordan was a Wizard. And that is how I became a Wizards fan, unfortunately. And people hate the Michael Jordan Wizard years. I love the Michael Jordan Wizards years. I thought that he had some really cool games in those years. And it was also crazy that at 40, he was able to elevate a franchise at 40 years old. So that was also a thing. So yeah, the Michael Jordan Wizard years, they weren't the greatest of Jordan years, but they were good years for me, dang it. And I watched Michael Jordan's 60-point game on TV that he had as a 40-year-old. So to me, I will never forget that. And I root for the Wizards. The Wizards forced Game 7. That game is tonight, starting in half an hour. And it is the best of the NBA playoffs that we have gotten so far. that if you want to complain about how boring it is and we don't know who's going to be the champion and it's going to be the Cavs or the Warriors again and it's boring and who wants that? If you're going to complain about that, then at least watch this game. Watch this game in large part because it's the most undecided thing that we have going on in the NBA playoffs. Right? Spurs Rockets looked like that could have gone either way for a while. And then game 6 happened and James Harden just forgot that he liked basketball or wanted to play it, or I don't know what the case is there, but James Harden just did not try in game 6. And I'm not fond of being the guy that comes out and says other guys aren't trying, because it's hard to gauge that from here. But when you're not actively shooting, taking open shots, when you're passing up open shots and giving it off to teammates, and that's not something that James Harden is even known for. When you're not doing all of the aggressive stuff that got you where you were, and you seem not engaged and you're getting beaten to death on defense, and offensively, you're not giving your all. You're not giving 100%. You're not taking open shots. Like if you were taking contested shots, if every time you got the ball, you were smothered and you didn't feel comfortable shooting it, that'd be one thing. But then you miss a shot, you don't get back on defense. I'm sorry. No, I don't like that. That to me, that was weak. We haven't gotten that. We've gotten nothing but heart and grit and determination from the Wizards and Celtics. Both sides. We've gotten chippiness. We've gotten close games. We've gotten blowouts. We haven't gotten a road win. In fact, that's the only thing that we haven't gotten in this series. And I hope that we do get that. But to me, this is a very important game. I'm very excited. It's the most important game in Washington sports. Now, here's the thing. I will not tell you who I think is going to win this game, because every time I say on the air who I think is going to win the game, the opposite thing happens. I'm not interested in saying one thing and then confirming it or causing anything to happen. Suddenly, I'm superstitious. I've never been superstitious in any other instance, but when it comes to sports, I've become instantly superstitious, and that's my one right there. So, yeah, that's my moment of self-indulgence. Now we'll jump to an NFL story that I find to be wildly hilarious, and possibly you all might laugh along right with me. And that is that Eddie Lacy, if Eddie Lacy reports, as today is his first weigh-in with the Seattle Seahawks, who signed him. If Eddie Lacy reports under 255 pounds, he gets a $55,000 bonus in his salary for showing up under 255, for showing up at the weight he's supposed to be. Because Eddie Lacy likes to eat. Like, Eddie Lacy is a good running back who, I don't know if Eddie Lacy would ever have broken the stratosphere into great running back, but we never got to see if Eddie Lacy could maybe be great, because Eddie Lacy likes to eat. Right? I mean, just go to Eddie Lacy's Twitter, and what you will find is a man that is always eating some McGriddle or looking for the Chinese food, which he tweets about often. Like, Eddie Lacy tweets a lot about how much he likes Chinese food. It's insane. It's bordering on insane that an athlete playing football at the highest level that you can play that game, a professional athlete, is talking about how much Chinese food he's about to put away. That's crazy to me. That's crazy. Like, there are stories that I hear from athletes that blow my mind with how unhealthy they are. Whether it's the story about Dwight Howard and how much candy he used to eat, that Dwight Howard used to eat bags and bags of gummy worms daily. Like, you're a high performance athlete. You are a professional athlete. Why is that a thing? I eat too much candy, and I don't eat gummy worms like bags and bags of gummy worms. I might have a bag of gummy worms once a month, and that's not even something I do on purpose. Like, I might just be in the gas station and go, I'm here. At no point is a plan in my day, how many gummy worms can I put down? Like, they shouldn't have to build that into your contract. But Eddie Lacy, if he shows up to camp under 255, he'll get $55,000. Now, to me, I would eat dirt for the next 9 days for $55,000. So maybe I'm not the best person to ask. But here's the thing. Eddie Lacy is only 1 inch taller than I am, which means his weight should not be in the 200s like it is. Now, I get it. Eddie Lacy's also an NFL running back. He's stronger. He's got more muscle. He lifts weights. I get it. All of that stuff is also true. But still, Eddie Lacy, if Eddie Lacy shows up to camp at 255, Eddie Lacy would outweigh me by 70 pounds. Okay? 70. That is insane. That is insane on every level. It is insane. he would outweigh me by 70 pounds. And by the way, 255 is still high for a running back. Like Leonard Fournette, people were disappointed that Leonard Fournette came in at over 240. They were like, oh, that's a little heavy. Oh, he's 245? That's a little heavy. And Leonard Fournette is in brilliant shape and is a much larger person, frame-wise. I think Leonard Fournette's over 6 foot. It's insane. That is insane. That they had to offer as a bonus $55,000 as a way to stop Eddie Lacy from eating his way out of the league. Because that's the pace that we're on right now. Eddie Lacy was about to eat his way out of the league. Like Johnny Manziel was partying his way out of the league and partied his way out of the league. Eddie Lacy was about to eat his way out of the league. Like at some point, you have to go, do I want to be a professional football player or do I not want to be a professional football player? If I want to be a professional football player, maybe I should take care of my body. Maybe I should not eat candy and McDonald's and Chinese food. And I get it on some level because I too am a fan of the Chinese food. I like Chinese food. I eat Chinese food probably more often than most people should be eating Chinese food. Do you know what I am not, though? An NFL player. You want to know what else I am not? Massively overweight. I got a little stuff. Because of a little thing called self-control. I don't eat Chinese food every day. If you want to be an NFL player, you just have to make the sacrifices necessary, right? Like Johnny Manziel could not give up the partying. He couldn't give up the drinking. He couldn't give up the parties. He couldn't give up going to Vegas. And now he's not in the NFL. And he's trying. He's trying to make his comeback. He's trying to do his thing. Good luck to him. But, nah, man. Nah, I don't see it. Clutch with Keon Rose at AM 1240 and 92.7 FM. Other NFL story is that you still have Robert Griffin III and Colin Kaepernick kind of floating in the air. They have not found homes. They have not found new NFL teams to be at. And it's pretty obvious why. Right? Colin Kaepernick, he decided to get controversial. He decided to get political. He decided to make a stand for something that mattered, which to me, I'm a big fan of that. I am a big fan of the method that he used. That yes, if you take a knee during the national anthem, first off, that's not giving the bird to the troops. I don't think that there's anybody who dislikes the troops or anybody who is against the troops or is anti the troops in that way and at that level. Right. He said that that's not the stance that he's taking. But when he did that, had to realize that's something a lot of NFL teams, like unless some coach really believes in you, like nobody wants to take those chances. Nobody wants those headaches and nobody wants those problems. That and Colin Kaepernick thinks that he should be a starter, right? Like he's trying to go to a place where he can win the job. He's not trying to be a backup, which is insane to me. And Robert Griffin III too, because Robert Griffin III, to me, I think Robert Griffin would get more chances, except he's very injury prone. He gets hit. He takes hits that nobody should be taking. He doesn't know how to get down. He's not one of those guys that falls so that his body does not take all the damage that it can possibly take. He takes when he gets hit, he takes every bit of the hit. Has not learned the risks to take and not to take. Might not ever do it. Is a fast runner, but is not a great football runner, right? Cam is a football runner. The ability to break tackles and generally be elusive. Cam's got it. Robert Griffin's just got straight up speed. But as a football runner, that is not his skill. He's not particularly elusive in the open field when it comes to shaking defenders and as well as breaking tackles. Like, that's not a skill that he's ever displayed either as a runner. So, like, when he gets hit, he takes all of those shots. So, yeah, Colin Kaepernick and Robert Griffin III are two guys that I think that as backups would be particularly useful on a team. They'd be very useful on a team. My general issue with both of these guys is a self-awareness issue. And self-awareness is a thing that a lot of people struggle with because it's sort of understanding you and your place in space. And I think that Colin and Robert, because of the success that they had both seen, at least briefly, believe that they can both be starters somewhere. And maybe they can. But that's something that they're going to have to earn again. They shouldn't go anywhere and expect to be a starter. Colin Kaepernick wants to go somewhere where he can compete for the starting job. And that's just not going to happen for a couple of reasons. One, the political headache nobody wants. And I think someone would take a risk on the political headache had Colin Kaepernick played well. Okay, this is the NFL. If you play well, people will take a chance on you, right? Like, Michael Vick killed dogs, served his time in prison, came out, and Andy Reid took a chance because, like, if you thought you were going to get a fraction of what Michael Vick was before he went to jail, you take it. And Andy Reid gave Michael Vick a chance, and Michael Vick capitalized on it for a small time before they ran Andy Reid out of town. Like, they capitalized on it, Michael Vick, because of his past with the dogfighting, that was a distraction. People sent angry letters to Philadelphia. PETA rioted. Well, not rioted, but they protested in the streets in front of the stadium. Like, that's a headache that nobody wants. But, yeah, Michael Vick could play, though. Michael Vick could play. Colin Kaepernick has not shown that he can play over this last season. I think it's preposterous that he's not on a team, but I also think it's preposterous that he thinks he deserves a starting opportunity. Like, he absolutely does not. You are not owed a starting opportunity anywhere in the National Football League. And he hasn't played well enough to earn one. I think go on a roster, bide your time. You're going to get another chance. Guys always get another chance. Whether it's from injury, whether it's from being blackballed a little bit, guys always get another chance in the NFL, right? Whether it's Carson Palmer getting a second chance, Kurt Warner getting a third chance, right? Like, Kurt Warner injured, falls from grace in St. Louis with the Rams, bounces to the Giants, where he is awful, bounces to the Cardinals, where he comes back to life. You might have to put your head down a little bit, but you'll get another chance. But if you demand a starting job, then no one's going to sign you because you haven't played like a starter in a couple of years. And the same thing goes for Robert Griffin. Like, Robert Griffin hasn't completed an entire season of football in 2 years. Like, he's been incredibly injury prone and has not made the kinds of decisions that protect him. That's not good. And no place on earth would pay you starter money, make you a starter, and then by week 3, you're gone. But that's been the pattern. Nobody wants to do this because I think both of these guys could still play if they found themselves in the right situation with the right coach. Because that's really what it was for Kaepernick. Like, Kaepernick did not play well necessarily because, he was so great coming out the gates, but he was a great fit for Harbaugh. Harbaugh let the offense be simple. Harbaugh Let Kaepernick do what Kaepernick did best, which is move around, be mobile, and run. Did not make the offense complicated, okay? Didn't try and go full Bill O'Brien on this thing. So you have that, right? And to me, I'm one of those guys. I think you just have to be realistic. You just have to be very self-aware about your situation. And Kaepernick and Griffin aren't realistic about their situations, and that's the reason why they are where they are. Clutch with Keon Rose on AM 1240 and 92.7 FM. Wizards Celtics tip off in 8 minutes. That's in 8 minutes. This is the biggest game of the postseason. Okay. We'll all be talking about whoever wins the finals. But so far, like if we're talking about like living in the moment, if we're talking about this playoffs, that by far has been the most entertaining series. In large part because no one can seem to get the upper hand, which is crazy to me. Because when I look at the teams on paper, the Wizards are the superior team on paper. And they haven't played like it. They haven't had a single game where they have shot anywhere near like the team they shot like in the regular season. Not one. Right? They went like 3 for 20 from 3 in the second half. And this is one of the better three-point shooting teams in the league in the regular season. In fact, none of their postseason games really, outside of the big blowouts in Atlanta and outside of the big blowouts in DC against Boston, that's 4 games in this postseason run where they've looked like any version of the team that we saw in the regular season. Right? And I'm desperately rooting for the Wizards to do this, not just because I'm a fan, but because I legitimately would prefer to watch them play Cleveland than Boston. Boston and Cleveland, that's a sweep. That is a sweep waiting to happen. I don't know that Cleveland and Washington's a sweep. I would give the Wizards a game against the Cavs. I think that'd be a 5-game series. Like maybe 6 if something happened to LeBron. Like for like a game. Like if LeBron just had cramps or something again. I don't know. Boston, Cleveland would be a sweep. That's a horrible matchup. I'm just rooting for the better matchup. No, I'm not. I'm rooting for my team. My team just happens to be the better matchup. Clutch with Keon Rose at AM 1240 and 92.7 FM. Make sure to check out all of our good stuff at Nooga Radio for you. We'll hook you up with our Facebook, our Twitter, our YouTube, all of our social media. We stream all of our shows live on YouTube. So make sure to to check us out. Make sure to ask us questions. Tell us what you think about whatever opinions you hear on every show here. We'd love to hear from you. Remember, folks, it's not how you start. It's how you finish. Stay clutch.
Nooga Radio, AM 1240, 92.7 FM.
Chattanooga's best kept secret, Boyd Speedway. Come see the fastest dirt late model drivers in the South compete for a purse every Saturday night. Pit gates open at 3, grandstand opens at 5. Racing starts at 7. Bring the whole family for a night of fun as they tear it up on the dirt track. Go to BoydSpeedway.net and check out the Dirt Simulator. BoydSpeedwayDirtSimulator.com. Chattanooga's best kept secret, Boyd Speedway. Fun-filled, outrageous racing. We'll see you Saturday night.
The UCRA Crate Late Model Event. Limited late models, crate late models, sportsman, hobby, and street stocks.
Boyd Speedway.
Competent, kind, caring, knowledgeable, experienced, great listener, great negotiator, in touch, accessible. If these are the characteristics you want and need in a realtor, you want and need Thomas DeMoss of Keller Williams Realty. Thomas is a very gifted realtor who puts the client's needs first. Whether you're buying or selling a home, Thomas is the realtor of choice. Thomas will help and guide you through each step of this very important process. For many of us, the purchase of a home is one of our largest investments and most important family and financial decision. Let Thomas use his 10 years of experience in the Chattanooga real estate market to give you the advantage you need when buying or selling a home. Buying a house? Thomas can help you navigate the emotional and somewhat anxious process of buying a home. For those of you who want to sell a house, Thomas uses his marketing and negotiating experience to help you sell your home for top dollar. Thomas is a local resident raising his family here in Hamilton County. He knows the area very well. For many agents, real estate is a job. With Thomas DeMoss, it's a passion and what he loves to do. Call Thomas today for a no-obligation consultation. He makes the process as simple as possible. Call 423-364-0028 and visit his website, northriverpropertygroup.com.
Picture that curl of steam rising from your fresh-made pizza. And in a flash, let it take you aloft, teasing all your senses. I'm talking about Jet's Pizza. If you eat out at Jet's in Hickson or take home your steaming deep dish square pizza, you'll love Jet's. They use only the best ingredients in a family recipe. Also try the cheesy bread, wings, chicken, or bread with bacon, antipasta or Greek salad. Jet's Pizza at Buy Low near the S-Curves. Open till 10 p.m. Sunday through Thursday and 11 p.m. Friday and Saturday. You can order online or have it delivered. jetspizza.com. That's jetspizza.com. Or call them now. They'll have it ready when you get there. 757-1616. That's 757-1616.
Jet's Pizza, the best pizza in town. 3600 Hickson Pike. Life is short. Eat better pizza.
Final expenses, funeral cost, cemetery lots, unpaid medical bills, probate cost, debts. Debts are due and payable upon death of debtor. Will these costs produce a burden and hardship on your loved ones? Who will be responsible? How will they handle them? These costs can total many thousands of dollars, only compounded greater with the grief of losing a family member. A safe and secure way to provide for these costs is with an affordable life insurance from Covenant Group Insurance and Financial Services. Covenant Group is a local company with local agents. Covenant Group still makes house calls. Covenant Group only represents A-rated companies. With many options to offer, Covenant Group can accommodate almost any budget. Great discounts for good health and plans available for impaired risk. Call today for a free, no-obligation consultation in the convenience of your home. Call Steve or Jada at 423-855-8484. Call today, 423-855-8484.
It is Eric Jones hard into the outside wall, and they are still 3 and 4 wide. It looks like we're racing at Talladega.
Caution flag is out. It looked like Denny Hamlin was trying to get by Ricky Stenhouse. Got into the back of Ricky at the line. Man, that's a close one. Matt Kenseth wins stage 1.
Green checkered flag is out, and Brad Keselowski has won stage 2.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. into the wall. That will bring out the caution. Caution waving once again. And again, it's Dale Earnhardt Jr. involved.
Oh, trouble. Ty Dillon has gotten turned to the inside of the racetrack, and Clint Boyer has just nailed him.
Matt Kenseth falling back, the field storming by. Something wrong. Now we see sparks from Kenseth's Toyota.
Larson chucks him off. Coming off turn number 2. Nose to tail. Now it's Logano to the high side in 3.
Joey Logano, a winner here at the Richmond International Raceway.
Hear it live on Chattanooga's official NASCAR radio station.
Nooga Radio, AM 1240, 92.7 FM.
The voice of NASCAR.
WDLZ HD4 Ottawa, W224AZ Chattanooga, WSDT Sunny Daisy Chattanooga.
CBS News, I'm Pam Coulter. Dangerous and reckless. That's what Democrats are saying about reports that President Trump disclosed classified information on ISIS to Russian diplomats. CBS's Jeff Pegues.
This was information that was highly sensitive information that came from a U.S. partner, and it was so sensitive that it had not yet been shared with U.S. allies, and that's the problem here. And that's why the White House and President Trump will have to answer questions about this, because there are a lot of people on Capitol Hill who are just finding out about this and are concern about what the president may have revealed to the Russians.
A flat denial from National Security Advisor H.R. McMaster.
The story that came out tonight, as reported, is false.
No word on when the court will issue an opinion, but a 3-judge panel heard arguments on the revised Trump travel ban today. CBS's Steve Futterman.
During the hearing, many of the questions from the judges focused on whether or not the Trump travel ban is in fact a Muslim ban. Those opposing the ban say it does discriminate against Muslims. But the acting U.S. Solicitor General Jeffrey Wall, arguing for the administration, said it is not a Muslim ban. He said it is focused only on countries that shelter or sponsor Islamic terrorist groups.
North Carolina Republicans aren't giving up, even though the Supreme Court refused to reinstate a controversial voter ID law.
I'm Allison Keyes. The executive director of North Carolina's Republican Party, Dallas Woodhouse, says the decision is disappointing, but
our legislature will take the appropriate action to put voter ID in place.
Woodhouse says some legislative adjustments will have to be made, but the voter ID law will be passed again and become law in North Carolina. He adds that the law is less strict than voter ID laws in other states, such as Wisconsin.